Cork, Ireland, a charismatic and open-hearted city on Ireland's southwest coast.
Everybody is relaxed, everybody's friendly.
The fertile landscape and expansive coastline make it a haven for food lovers.
There's magic in the waters in Ireland. The seafood is so good.
Locals line up for traditional favorites.
There's a reason people are standing there waiting for their food. It's really, really fresh.
And artisanal delicacies are crafted to perfection.
It's lovely and smoky and salty. It's melts in the mouth, it's gorgeous.
These are the unique foods that define a location. And the legendary pleasures we'll travel halfway around the world to eat.
Such comforting food, the soul of Ireland.
I'm Andrew Zimmern. This is Cork, Ireland, another delicious destination. Cosmopolitan in attitude and compact in size, Cork, Ireland is a place where a deep-rooted heritage effortlessly blends with a youthful vibe. The city of Cork is the capital of County Cork, located just 20 miles inland from Ireland's southwest coast. A tangle of 17th century streets and alleyways swells with lively pubs, captivating food markets, and a thriving restaurant scene.
Slowly becoming the food capital of Ireland.
Beyond the city limits are seaside fishing villages, farmlands and pastures that produce some of Ireland's most beloved foods, like Irish stew, a hearty braise of lamb, potatoes, and root vegetables.
Most households would have Irish stew 2 or 3 times a week.
In the early 19th century, Irish peasants commonly made a braise of cheap, available ingredients, tough cuts of meat and vegetables. Ireland's upper classes shunned local dishes, preferring imported foods and more elaborate European recipes. That all started to change in the 1960s when Myrtle Allen, an East Cork farmer's wife, turned her country home into a Michelin-starred restaurant. Her simple country meals were a revolutionary offering.
She served Irish food so proudly at a time when most of us didn't think we had anything to be proud of.
Myrtle Allen's pioneering spirit lives on in her daughter-in-law, Darina Allen, who opened the Ballymaloe Cookery School in 1984 in the countryside of East Cork. Students come from all over the world to learn everything from dairy farming to butchering to baking.
We grow a lot of the produce that we cook with, and students love that.
Lamb for Ballymaloe's Irish stew comes from a neighboring farm where the animals feed on wild mountain flowers and herbs.
It would be the shoulder, because what you want is a little rivulets of fat to it like that, that gives you extra juiciness.
Darina enhances the meat's flavor by browning it in its own nutrient-rich fat trimmings.
The soil in this area has always been particularly famous for growing vegetables, really sweet and intense in flavor.
Deglazing the pan releases the sticky bits of caramelized lamb and vegetable drippings clinging to the surface. All that flavor then goes into the pot.
Thyme. I'm going to tuck this in here.
She slow cooks the lamb for at least 2 hours. At the halfway point, she adds potatoes, a mainstay of the Irish diet since the late 16th century. She lets it stew until the lamb is fork tender.
Such comforting food, the sort of soul of Ireland.
It's so tasty and it's also very, very comforting. The potatoes, they soak up all the delicious juices from the lamb.
The lamb is falling off the bone. It's quite tender and it's just delicious, really. The potatoes are a beautiful consistency and they just kind of fall apart. It's unbelievable.
Highlighting the simple perfection of local ingredients is a passion of Cork's top chefs who proudly display food provenance on their menus. Like Skeanor duck, hand-reared ducks from a farm in West Cork.
It's our landscape, where we're from. It's part of us.
Ireland's expansive woodlands and inland waterways provide the perfect habitat for wildfowl, and duck has been a part of the Irish diet for centuries. Skeanor ducks are raised using natural farming methods in the townland of Skeanor, on a farm overlooking the Atlantic, where the sea mists add a salty taste to the succulent meat. At Green's restaurant, located in a converted 18th century warehouse in Cork's historic Victorian Quarter, Chef Brian McCarthy showcases local ingredients like Skeanor duck.
The ducks are cared for lovingly, they have a great life, and then we like to follow that on by using all of the duck to more like honor that duck.
The breasts, gizzard, and heart are the stars of the entree. To ensure moist, juicy meat, he brines the duck in a sugar and salt water solution for 12 hours. Then he cooks it sous vide, vacuum sealing the meat and cooking it in a water bath to the perfect rare or medium rare.
Sous vide almost guarantees that consistency for every single portion to every single customer in the restaurant every single time.
To complement the dark duck meat, Brian prepares a sweet and sour glaze, starting with a stock made from roasting the bird's neck, wings, and carcass with vegetables and aromatics.
We simmer it for 2.5 hours, and that lets all the flavors develop.
To transform the stock into a sauce, Brian adds a gastrique, a reduction of brown sugar and red vinegar infused with port wine and brandy.
We let that reduce further, and then we have our glaze.
The cooked gizzards are heated in the glaze, absorbing the deep flavors of the gastrique. He coats the hearts in breadcrumbs and deep fries them to add a crunchy texture to the final dish. The duck breast is pan-seared to crisp the skin.
You see the fat is rendered off to leave this really thin layer of crispy skin.
The duck breast takes center stage in an artistic display of vegetables, the organs, and glaze.
This is a naturally reared duck. You can taste the difference because it's so moist, so tender. It just melts in the mouth because it's perfectly cooked.
I think my favorite part of the duck was just the texture of it between the cooking of it sous vide and they managed to keep the crispiness of the skin.
Usually duck tends to be a little chewy or tough when you cook it. Whichever way they prepared it in here, they did like an amazing job. It literally melted in your mouth and the sauce that came with it was just wow.
Passionate food makers are inspired by Cork's bounty, including a man handcrafting a favorite Irish food using ancient techniques. Ireland is positioned on the North Atlantic Drift, where temperate and nutrient-rich waters create a rich mosaic of aquatic life. Off County Cork's 600 miles of coastline, salmon is king, and the area is now internationally recognized for smoked salmon, salt-cured, cold-smoked salmon fillets.
Ireland has a good fishing industry, and salmon has always been a prized fish. It's a delicious fish.
Ireland's coastal inhabitants have been eating and preserving salmon for centuries. In the days before refrigeration, the fish had to be heavily cured and smoked until it was dry and almost leathery in order to preserve it. Today, a milder flavor and delicate texture is the goal. Frank Haderman, a County Cork native, has been smoking Irish salmon for over 3 decades in Belvelly, a small village near the town of Cove on the northern end of Cork Harbour. The wild salmon season is short, and restrictive bans have decreased supply, so Frank also sources salmon organically farmed off Ireland's northwest coast.
Lovely conformation in the fish, fresh, glistening.
The salmon are filleted and cured within a day of harvesting. A salt cure kills bacteria, draws out moisture, enhances the flavor, and acts as a natural preservative.
So we use food-grade table salt, because it's bang on the nail every time.
Frank's is one of the only traditional timber smokehouses left in Ireland. Beechwood chips emit a light, cool smoke that over decades has formed a natural blackened seasoning on the walls, giving the salmon a distinctive flavor. The ancient method of hanging salmon allows the fish to absorb the smoke evenly. The fat molecules disperse, and the meat becomes tender.
You want to have that lovely balance of smoke and salt and fish.
With temperatures below 68 degrees, cold smoking does not actually cook the salmon. Frank's years of expertise tell him when it's done.
You're just looking for resistance. It's putting your hands gently on the fish and giving a gentle caress, and then you know.
Haderman's smoked salmon is a local favorite and the highlight of several breakfast dishes at the Crawford Gallery Cafe in the busy plaza of Cork City.
It's melts in the mouth, it's gorgeous. It has nice kind of like lines of fat in it, and it's just the right amount of oily. It's like the perfect pairing for eggs.
It's got a lovely, succulent, soft, smoky flavour. It's very rich and sort of like an umami, like there's lovely deep flavours there and lovely long lingering flavour.
In Ireland, you're never more than 85 miles from the coast, and seafood is a staple. That includes seafood chowder, a hearty soup featuring fresh shellfish like lobster, crab, and Dublin Bay prawns.
There's magic in the waters in Ireland. The seafood is so good.
In Ireland, seafood once had the stigma of being poor man's food. For centuries, most of the best fish was taken by Basque fishermen, and the Catholic requirement of eating fish on Friday was viewed as a penance. Perceptions changed in the 1960s when the Irish fishing industry started promoting its catch. Today, Irish seafood is regarded as some of the best in the world. Kinsale is a historic port about 15 miles south of Cork, where one of Ireland's leading chefs, Martin Shanahan, opened his restaurant, Fishy Fishy.
Kinsale is such a beautiful town. Everybody is relaxed, everybody's friendly.
For 7 years, Martin was a fishmonger here, and he forged close ties with the seafaring community. Now, they supply him with fresh fish every morning.
We have anywhere up to about 70 different species of fish that are readily available to me every day.
Martin's seafood chowder starts with a stock of shellfish. Dublin Bay prawns are genetically related to lobsters and prized for their tender, rich meat. In many parts of the world, they're called langoustine.
This time of the year, spider crab is very readily available, right, in Kinsale. Sweetness, the flavour off of that, right? But that's going in as well. So, this is the fun bit, right? I'm just crushing him down. And what's it doing is giving me all that lovely juice and flavour.
Traditionally, Irish seafood chowder is cream-based. Martin's recipe incorporates tomatoes, too. It's his tribute to cioppino, the Italian-American seafood stew he learned working abroad in San Francisco.
Anywhere you go, chowder is a bringing together of people, right? It's a chat about it. Did you have that chowder? Oh my God, it was unique. There was this in it or that in it.
Influenced by Kinsale's importance as a historic trading port, Martin adds a melange of spices.
Coriander powder, that's the Asian influence. Then the French influence, tarragon. The last bit, a bit of garlic. I want it all to marry together. Cork is famous for carrots. A little bit of sweetness in it.
Fish chowders were commonly made by Irish fishermen using the fresh catch of the day, usually haddock or salmon. Martin cooks the fish and vegetables in local cream and adds it all to the stock.
You know when you walk on a beach and you get that lovely kind of smell of the ocean, that seaweed smell? That to me says, okay, I'm on the beach. What do I want to do? I want to drink chowder.
Irish brown bread is the perfect partner to a bowl of Irish seafood chowder, topped with clotted cream and crab.
It was very flavorful. Every spoon has a sort of an explosion, if you will, in your mouth.
When you go to the coast, especially in County Cork, I find the seafood is the best. The variety of fish is spectacular. You don't get anywhere else. And you know that the seafood in the soup was caught this morning in Kinsale.
Cork's fresh seafood is justly famous. One family's seafood restaurant has had people lining up for generations.
I probably waited about 30 to 40 minutes in a queue just to get the chipper here.
Cork has one of the world's largest natural harbors and a maritime history that dates back over a century. Irish fishing fleets bring in over 250,000 tons of fish each year, and one of the most popular dishes is fish and chips, battered and deep-fried whitefish served with thick-cut fries.
It's a real chipper kind of a meal.
The chipper is what the Irish call their favorite fish and chip shop. In the 16th century, Sephardic Jews escaping the Inquisition in Spain and Portugal brought their fish frying traditions to England. The custom was introduced to Ireland in the late 1800s by Giuseppe Cervi, an Italian immigrant with an entrepreneurial spirit. After earning enough money peddling fish from a street cart outside Dublin pubs, he opened Ireland's first chipper and launched an industry here. One of Cork's legendary chippers is Casey & Sons & Sons in Douglas, a booming suburb on the south side of Cork.
Like, I have friends up in Dublin and they travel down here. The first place they want to go is Casey's.
Casey's started as a tiny fish and chip shop back in 1958, opened by Ken Crawford and his American wife Edith. The menu has since evolved to offer fast foods from around the world. Third-generation owner Zach Crawford says the reason folks still line up outside is their fish and chips.
The tradition lives on, and we keep the same ideals that my grandparents started off with.
Firm, mild whitefish works well in fish and chips. Zach typically uses haddock or hake.
This is a hake. It's beautiful, white, thick fish, sustainable, local. It's caught very deep in Irish waters.
Zach prepares a thin batter that will seal in moisture and protect the fish from scorching when it's fried.
We put mayonnaise in the batter, makes the batter crispy and light, gives it a little bit of flavor too. This is looking good.
A dusting in rice flour dries the surface of the fish so it can bond with the batter. Back in the day, fish and chips were fried in beef lard, which gave the fish a strong, savory flavor.
We're cooking it in rapeseed oil. It's very clean, very flavorless, so it just makes the fish taste much better. It's not too brown, not overdone, nice golden color for the fish.
The best potatoes for chips are high in starch and low in moisture. They cook up light and fluffy. A proper Irish chip is thick cut, so it needs to be fried twice. Once to soften the potato, and then again in hotter oil to crisp the outside.
You can tell by the sound that these are done. They're making a shaky, shaky sound, and they're the right color, so they're good to go.
The freshly fried potatoes and golden fish are served up together as folks queue up outside before the doors even open.
I've probably waited about 30 to 40 minutes in a queue just to get the chipper here, but it's been so worth it. They're proper chipper chips, crispy on the outside, fresh homemade chips.
That crispiness is excellent, and then when you get down to the hake, it just melts in your mouth. I usually put vinegar on the chips. It really adds to it.
It's crispy, and the fish itself, it's soft. It has really the flavor of the sea.
Corkonians love their traditional foods, including this powerful old-school favorite.
What we say is it's not for the faint-hearted.
Cork was founded in the 7th century and is one of Ireland's oldest cities. The city's history is alive in its Gothic cathedrals, Georgian architecture, and the English market, a traditional food emporium for bakers, butchers, and fishmongers since 1788.
The English market, in a sense, is the heart of Cork.
The market's food stalls offer Cork specialties like tripe and drisheen, beef tripe in a white onion sauce, paired with drisheen, an Irish blood sausage.
The Cork people grew up on it, and lots of them really love it. What we say is it's not for the faint-hearted.
For centuries, Cork was a thriving hub of international trade in salt beef and pork. The finer cuts were exported for British troops and civilians around the globe. The byproducts, offal and tougher cuts, were given to workers in the slaughterhouses. A week's pay in the 19th century was said to be a shilling and all the offal you could carry. Classic Cork dishes are served at Farmgate Cafe, located just upstairs from the English market. Cafe manager Ruth Feely runs the kitchen, where tripe and drisheen is a local favorite.
We have a lot of customers who come here on a very regular basis for it. They get very upset and very angry if we don't have it for them.
The raw ingredients for tripe and drisheen have been sold in the English market for centuries. Beef tripe is the lining from any or all of the cow's 4 stomachs. At Farmgate, Ruth uses honeycomb tripe, coveted for its unique texture.
It's very rubbery, but you slow boil it for about 2 hours first, which tends to soften it up.
The spongy tripe absorbs the flavors of the accompanying sauce, made with onion, thyme, and milk.
We will add some corn flour to it just to thicken the sauce a wee bit.
In Cork, it's tradition to pair tripe with drisheen, a cooked blood sausage with a smooth consistency.
Irish people really love their blood sausage. We have it for breakfast in the mornings. For lunch, it's great on pizza. You just want to pop maybe 3 pieces per person into the tripe and heat it through.
Topped with a pat of creamy Irish butter and fresh parsley, tripe and drisheen is one of Cork's oldest comfort foods.
My father used to go hunting every Sunday morning, and he would have it before he'd go to the country for the day. It's so filling, energy-giving. You need nothing else for the rest of the day.
It's sort of like a rich bechamel sauce, and it has a lot of onions in it, but they've cooked out for such a long time that the onions melt down into the sauce. If you ate them growing up as a child, you love it. If you didn't, it's an acquired taste.
This Emerald Isle city boasts a thriving culinary scene. Traditional comfort foods born from the ocean and fertile farmlands created a hearty country cooking culture that suits the proud and genuine people who call Cork home.